Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel, and today I have Supraman, a person I actually met on Discord. And, apparently you've had your account kind of restricted. So we just wanted to talk about that since it's kind of a big issue in the community. But thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hey Dan, thanks for having me.
So I guess I remember, did you invite me to your Discord group or was it Rue or something?
Yeah, no, it was me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Actually, I actually kind of always wanted to ask you this, but what made you want to reach out to me? Like, I really appreciate it because you guys are pretty cool.
I
But
mean, I've been following your channel for quite a while. You do some really good technical analysis on OMI, and I'm an investor in OMI as well. So I just thought I'd reach out to you and get your take on. I've asked you a couple questions on OMI and stuff like that to get your perspective, and I thought, hey, why don't we just try to get you in our group because we were trying to start a new Discord group and a group of like-minded people, like just everyone who's interested in Veve. And my friend got me involved in Veve, my personal friend, and we just wanted to start a small group of people that we could trust. And figured, you seemed like a pretty cool person and wanted to kind of get you involved, and kind of grew from there, as you can see.
gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I was honored because I feel like I'm in a lot of groups, but not all of them are like collectible related groups. So you were one of the first ones that I started to kind of dig deep in Discord and realize that there's a huge community of people who know what they're doing in terms of collectibles. And so it's always interesting to hear what you guys have to say there. So I guess to kind of just get started. Oh, I do have another question. This is from the comments here, but 3GP Media says Superman as in like the Toyota Supra. Is that where you got your name from?
Yeah, I own a 1994 Toyota Supra, so
Oh, that's beautiful.
that's where the name came from. And
Oh,
also, I'm a big DC and Marvel fan, so why not?
gotcha. For sure. Okay. So I guess, let's just tell us a little bit about who you are and I guess how you found Vivi.
Yeah, so I want to say back in March or April last year, one of my best friends was showing me Batman's. I didn't know what he was showing me. He was sending me pictures of himself standing next to like a digital Batman. And I'm like, what, dude, what the hell is this? He would send me all this stuff. He's like, hey, you got to get involved. There's this new app, you got to download it right now, and he'd always be talking about it. And he was so excited about it. And I kind of just, I said, okay, I'll check it out, and kind of never really did until I want to say May timeframe when I actually did join. Um, and my first drop, it's pretty embarrassing, but it was the Dragon Girl drop.
Okay.
I participated in that because he forced me to. Um, I ended up winning that drop, the ultra rare Dragon Girl. Keep in mind I didn't know anything about Veve at the time, right? So I won the drop, and it came time to confirm the purchase, and it was 100 gems, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. What am I even buying for, $100, 100 gems? And the idiot that I am, I canceled the order. And I was too embarrassed to tell my friend at the time, and I just told him, I was like, oh man, I didn't get the drop. And he did get the ultra rare. And to this day, I've been kicking myself for it because we know where the price of ultra rare Dragon Girl is. So, but yeah, it's kind of a funny story of how Vivi came into my life. But I've invested ever since that. I've heavily invested in Vivi. Definitely, really passionate about the project. I think it's totally cool, and the concept. They definitely have the IP behind it, and it's really interesting to see the progression of how it's changed over the last 8 months. And I've got a lot of friends and family involved as well. Like a couple months ago, everyone would come over to my house, and my parents and my sisters would come over and do drops on the weekends, and
It's awesome.
it'd be like a family affair. So it was pretty fun to just get everyone together. The just the joy and the excitement of mashing away. Like it really gets your blood pumping. It's I don't like the feeling of 10 seconds between 11 o'clock when that hits zero. Oh man, like your palms are sweating, like you just can't really concentrate. I mean, you can't really explain that rush, but it was awesome, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. You have to kind of experience it because I never cared about the collectibles at all. I think my first one was like the Marty's hoverboard. That's the first drop I did. So I missed all these drops, even though I had the app. I made content, stuff like that, but I just didn't care. But once you start doing it and getting these drops, then that's when you experience like, oh my gosh, I can make X amount of money if I get this drop, and it's fun. Like it's hard to lose money. So I totally feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like, I got my parents involved, my sister, I gifted her a golden Elsa because she never really
Oh,
got any
nice.
drops. So like I just wanted her to get excited about Veve, and just to see like
Yeah,
you can make real money off of Veve. And you just got to keep at it, just got to keep doing the drops, because she's been pretty down on Veve, like never really wins anything.
yeah,
So I bought it Elsa for like 300 gems. I gifted it to her, and I was like, "Don't whatever you do not sell this Elsa. Whatever you do, just hold on to it." So she's holding on to it, and yeah, just see what happens.
that's great, man. That's awesome. So, after you discovered Vivi, got your feet wet. Did you develop? I'm assuming this, but did you develop goals of what you wanted to do with the collectibles? I mean, because from what I understand, you have quite a valuable collection right
Yeah.
now.
So I guess when I first joined, from my buddy introducing me to Veve, my goal was to invest in the collectibles, let them appreciate and value, and then when the time comes, sell them for Omi. Because in my mind, Omi is the end goal.
Gotcha.
In
Still,
my yeah, that's
okay.
still my goal. My plan is to hopefully own 10 million Omi. I'm far from there from right now, but that's the end goal. However, as time went on, and I've participated in every drop. So I haven't won in every drop, but I've participated in every drop.
Mhm.
But as time went on, collecting all these collectibles, like you kind of get attached to some of
Yeah,
them.
you do.
I never thought I would. And so, I would always be like, yeah, I'm going to get all these collectibles and I'm going to sell them for homie. But then I got all these sets, I'm up to 20 sets. I have over 330 collectibles. And I'm like, I don't know if I can sell these, I'm pretty attached to them. But so I'm kind of like in a weird space where, I do want to sell them for homie down the line, but I do want to hold on to them for the Master Collectors program as well. So it's I don't know. I'm a little conflicted in my end goal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like like my goal was always 100% Omi, and that's probably why I neglected the collectibles for so long. It's to be honest, I really didn't understand them. I didn't understand like the value. I see it now, like a bit too late, but I think it's good to have some into the collectibles and some into Omi. At least some exposure. So I don't know what that means for you, but for me, excuse me, it'd be nice to have like 50-50. 50% of my Omi or Vivi portfolio is collectibles. The other 50% is Omi, because I think you can win either way.
Right.
Regardless what you end up choosing there. So.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Can you give us kind of a rundown of like your basic trading history? Maybe that can give us clues about what happened or who you are in terms of your investment strategy.
My investment strategy has been pretty basic. I mean, we've seen tremendous growth over the last 3 or so months, but prior to that, I'd say from May to August, I was able to really do well on drops. And at some collectibles, I'd win them and I'd flip the ultra rare, get some gems, and be able to participate in future drops. Other times, I'd hold on to it and you know acquire more gems to be able to participate in future drops. But I've had a pretty basic strategy because I did get attached to a lot of my collectibles, hence why I have 330 collectibles. But I'm not really sure what happened, but December 22nd was the Mickey drop, right? I had my family over. We were all getting ready to do the Mickey drop. I went through the usual ritual of, restarting your phone, going into airplane mode and all that good stuff. And then I get into, Veve, get ready for the Mickey drop. And I notice my timer is off. It's like, there's like 6 minutes to 11 o'clock, but my timer says 12. And I refresh the app. I go in and I go back out and nothing happens. The timer doesn't, it doesn't get fixed. So, what do? I close the app, right? Open the app back again. It starts spinning. You see the little spinning thing on the Spider-Man, and then it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. This is 4 minutes until the drop time, and I'm freaking out. My wife is ready, my son's ready, my sister, their devices are ready to go, and me, the most excited one for the Mickey drop, I can't even get in. So I missed the drop. I couldn't get in. Then I logged into the website because we all have iPhones. I logged into the website, the yomi.vv website, and then it said like, your account is restricted or something. I don't remember what it said, but it said like you're disabled. So the Veve app didn't say anything. It just keeps spinning, but then the website did say I was disabled. So I freaked out. I asked our guys in our group chat what the heck is going on. And, because I had a friend that was restricted in the past. And he was restricted for about a week, however. I think that was maybe sometime in November. So he said, just send in a ticket. They'll take care of you hopefully right away. And maybe within a week, you'll get back up and running. So, yeah, that's just kind of like the unfortunate story of what happened and how I got, my account restricted. Not to this day, I don't even know what happened.
So I guess let's just get right to it. Did you do anything that was against the terms of service for Veve? Some of the popular things we hear about is bots. Like, did you use bots or any sort of emulation device?
No, I've never used any bots or emulators or scripts. I'm not even a tech savvy person. As you know, I was on this stream with you, and I didn't even know how to share my screen. You had to teach me to do that. So the thought of me even using a bot, I wouldn't even know how to do that. But I've invested thousands of dollars into Veve, of my own savings, and the thought of having my account restricted, I would never risk that, and I just wouldn't, I haven't done anything illegal. I'm just totally shocked that, my account got restricted, and I don't know why.
I guess another thing is it's been going around the community about like dirty gems, right? Gems that perhaps were I don't know, like maybe they scam a credit card and they're selling these gems. Or did you partake in anything that was maybe?
I remember last summer there was kind of like a big scandal of dirty gems going around, but I've never purchased any dirty gems. I know like you can go into a lot of those Telegram groups, and there are organized groups that do sell gems, and they have escrows and whatnot, but I've never bought any of those gems. The only off-app gems that I have bought are from 3 guys in my Discord, which I know them, and they get all their gems the legal way, by flipping, and those are the only 3 guys that I've gotten my gems from in the past. And there's no other really logical explanation of what really triggered the security, in terms of like what I did in terms of botting, or, maybe I mashed too fast on certain drops. I don't know. Like, I didn't do anything that no one else did.
Gotcha. So I guess let's just kind of hear your story. I know you have a lot of, communications with the Veve, evidence and things like that. Let's kind of, so, you had your account kind of restricted, you said, after Golden Moments. So take us through the timeline of what happened after that, from that point going forward.
Yeah. So like I got my account restricted on December 22nd, I submitted a ticket. They sent me a reply 4 days later, kind of like a generic, sorry, you're experiencing issues. Why don't you reinstall the app? Reset your Wi-Fi and whatnot. That into them that my account was disabled. The next day, they responded asking for me to do KYC. And what's required is you have to hold up a picture of your government ID, hold up a photo of you holding a piece of paper with your username as well as your email address on it, and hold it up against yourself so they can verify you, right? So I did that. I did all the KYC. I didn't hear back from them until 8 days later. And so they sent me an email saying the information that I sent doesn't match the details of my profile in Veve, right? And referred me to like Section 5, Clause 2, saying you would agree that you'd provide accurate, complete, and truthful information at all times. But, so I didn't know what that meant, because for me, I know a lot of the people have been forced to put their personal information into Veve. But when I joined Veve, that was back in May, I didn't really know what I was signing up for. My friend just told me to sign up. So I did. And I think I left that name blank. I didn't even put my name in there. I put my date of birth in there, but I didn't have a name in there. And so when Veve was giving me a hard time where they couldn't match my identity, I was like, did I put a fake name in there? I didn't really remember. But when I got my account back, I looked in the profile and I didn't have a name in there. So I was like, oh, I could see why it didn't match, because my government ID had a name and Veve didn't have a name. So, I mean, that wasn't really helpful from a customer service standpoint, but had they told me I didn't have any information there, I could have explained to them why I didn't have my name in there. But, it's just been a complete mess with the communications with Veve, as just trying to figure out like what's going on. Like it seems like they're certainly giving me a hard time just with the KYC. And then up until this point, they did finally allow me access back to my account. But there's really no timetable of what's next, or they didn't even tell me like what's going on. They just sent me an email on January 19th saying we've re-enabled your account. However, we have restricted your account activity. And so what that means is, you can only access your collectibles and you can participate in drops, but you don't have access to the feed. You don't have access to the marketplace. I mean, like, what do you expect to do with that?
Yeah, that's. Can you tell us the differences in the two? So you said there's like restricted, and what's the other type?
So typically what happens is your account gets disabled first. When it's disabled, you can't even log in.
Okay.
So you're just prevented from logging into Veve at all. And then if your account is restricted, essentially you have restricted access. So you can't do marketplace, you can't do feed, you can't transfer collectibles to someone else, you can't transfer gems. You can only play with your collectibles in the vault. I mean, and you can do drops, but that's about it.
So you can still do the primary drops when you have a restricted account.
You can, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm not sure the logic there, but yeah.
And you also can't transfer your collectibles to a different account, correct?
No, you can't.
Because that'd be an easy way to just get around it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, okay. And then I guess, do you have some evidence or just some of your communications so we can just kind of see what that looks like and just kind of get some context?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me show you.
While you're working on that, do you have any friends that closer friends that also got their accounts disabled or restricted?
Yeah, so I had my best friend actually got his account restricted back in November. and I'm not sure why. He's not sure why. It was pretty short lived. It was a week or so. But in VV time, a week feels like years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I think from his perspective, the only thing that he thinks might have triggered it was maybe he used a Theragun, the massage gun. You see like people using the Theragun machine
Yeah,
to tap faster. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so that was
I
a big
remember that.
thing that people were doing on Twitter.
I
So he
remember that.
decided he decided to try it once, and then the next day his account got locked. So he thinks that's what triggered it. But when
So
his account got restored, but they didn't tell him it was restored. One day he just, logged in and he got in.
So take us through these emails. Like, what are we looking at? And I guess
Yeah.
people, if they want to read it, they can read it, pause the video, and read it
So
at their own leisure.
the first email, it's a really general boiler template response that, maybe you should try these troubleshooting tips because you're not
Okay.
getting into your account.
Okay.
The next one, they're going to ask you for KYC, pretty standard stuff. And then the next one was them giving me a hard time that my KYC information didn't match. So, it's really important for you users, if you don't have your updated information in VV, make sure you get your real name and your date of birth in there, because if not, if you get your account restricted, I'm pretty sure you're SOL, because they gave me a pretty hard time about that.
This is actually interesting. It's something I've never heard before, actually, because to be honest, I don't even remember if I put my name and date of birth on the app. And
Yeah.
like, when you mentioned that, I was like actually looking at my own app, and I don't even know where. I'm just such an idiot, but I don't
Yeah.
even know where that is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like when you sign up to Vivi, it's not mandatory, right? So like usually if there's a required field, they won't let you continue. Like if you're filling out a form online, but
yeah,
that's not the case with Vivi. So I know they changed their terms and conditions since I think sometime in August last year to enforce some of these rules that you do have to have accurate and truthful information into Vivi. But I joined in May, and it wasn't required, and I didn't know
yeah.
what Vivi was. I didn't feel comfortable putting my real name on an app, so I left it blank, and so they gave me a hard time with that, and I had to prove that my account was my account. I sent them screenshots of my in-app gem purchases. I sent them screenshots of my collectibles. I just basically went above and beyond to have them even look at my case.
Yeah,
And
good. So yeah. Just well, what
so
else
this
is
so
what else
this
do you have?
email that you're looking here is, it's really, they're really not telling you anything. The information supplied has been passed to the team for verification in due course. I mean, they're just like leaving users hanging, and they're not, giving you any timetable of what to expect whatsoever. And then the next email, they tell you, we have re-enabled your account. However, your account is restricted, which is where I'm at now. And so, I mean,
So that was January 19th of 2022. Okay,
yeah. So,
so very very recently.
yeah.
Wow.
And, from this standpoint, I really don't know what to expect. I haven't heard back from them since. I followed up with them last week. No response. Um, the only thing, there's a bunch of people in my similar situation where they have been restricted recently in January or December, have been locked out, and claim that they haven't done anything illegal, and they're just not getting their emails responded to in a timely manner. And when they do get email responses, they're generic template responses, not, hey, we're looking into this case, bear with us, we'll get back to you in a few days. It's these canned responses, and it just doesn't make you comfortable as a user, as someone who's invested thousands of dollars into an app that, I consider myself a really loyal and passionate user of Vivi. And to have someone who's invested so much money into a project that you believe in, that the company can just do this to you and lock you out with no communication. And, at least if they provided information to tell you that, hey, we're investigating this case, bear with us, we'll get back to you in maybe 3 to 5 days. Hey, I'm okay with that. I've been, kept in the dark for 5 weeks now. And I mean, people in my shoes, we just feel like we're not being heard. Veve is not really listening to us. I've been on social media voicing my concerns,
Saying that.
trying to tag, Veve, David, you and whatnot, but we don't feel like they're listening.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, but I'll just repeat it. When I was looking at my Twitter feed early in 2021, every now and then you'd have someone's complaining about their account being locked or whatever, and people, and me included, I just assumed that they did something wrong. That's a natural human response, and that it's their fault. And then you don't hear too many people complaining about that, so you just move on. But there's definitely a switch that happened, and I think it's related to when they upgraded their security, because there were so many people complaining about the bots. I mean, the bot situation, I don't know if it got better or not, but it was so flagrant and obvious, right? And they put in these protocols to detect these bots, and all of a sudden you see this uptick, and really I think the bot activity seemed to have gone down, or at least people weren't talking about it. But there was definitely an increase in people, these false positives, I guess, for lack of a better word, of people saying that people just like you that got their account restricted. And if you say something like, I don't even know if this is true or not, but if you say like, oh, our detection rate, only 1% of users are false positives, you may look at that and say, well, 1% is actually not that much. But from I work in medicine, I treat patients, I give them medications, prescribe them stuff. And to me, a 1%, if I made a mistake on 1% of my patients, and I see, 10,000 patients a year, that is a lot of people that are negatively affected. And so if you look at a situation like this, where 1.5 million users, 1% are negatively affected, they're false positives, that's like 10,000, 15,000 users, and that's a substantial amount of people. So once we get to these bigger numbers as we go mainstream, this is going to be like a bigger potential problem. I think sooner or later, especially as we grow, this has to be addressed, in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a good point. If it's even 0.5%,
Yeah.
I mean, 7,500 users, innocent users, are blocked or restricted, from their assets, from their hard-earned working money. The bot security system is not doing its job if it's locking up innocent users' accounts. I'd much rather compete with hundreds of thousands of bots than just sit on the sidelines and watch my collectibles in the vault and not be able to participate.
Yeah.
I want to continue to talk about Veve and get excited about Veve and bring in more people into Veve, because 6 months ago, when I would have never imagined we'd have 1.5 million users now, and where the collectibles are valued at right now. So 6 months ago, me and my friends in our Discord, we were like, we're all investors in Omi. We're heavily invested in Omi, and we were envisioning the day when we would get here, but we didn't anticipate it to be now. But we would always say, when the day comes, we're not going to be so lucky and be able to get these ultra rares, on every drop. Like the individual collectibles where you can choose if you're going to go for the commons or the uncommons or whatnot.
Yeah.
We'd always go for the ultra rares, and we'd have a pretty good success rate because there weren't that many users around. And so we would say, when it comes the day, there's so many users on Veve, and we're not going to get those drops. That's a good thing, because we're bringing in mass adoption, and that's a great thing for Omi. So we would always say, we welcome that. This is exactly what we want, and this is where we want to be. But to have our accounts falsely restricted with, I don't know, oversensitive security measures, I mean, I understand what Veve is doing. That a lot of the users were crying bots and whatnot. me personally, I was never crying the bots because bots are everywhere. If Nikes, Jordans, Supremes, they're everywhere. They can't fight the bots. How can you expect Veve to, right? So I never complained about the bots. I just thought it was the nature of the beast. That's how the game is played. But if when I did see people complaining about that they were restricted, I did assume that they deserved it. Maybe they were doing something illegal. Were they botting or using an emulator or whatnot? But it just comes to show not everyone is guilty. Like, just try to keep an open mind, have some empathy towards people that are trying to bring their voice out there and be heard, because not everyone is guilty. And if you do falsely restrict even 0.5%, that number is huge.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I think hopefully the new drop system comes sooner than later. I know that they're supposed to be doing that next month, so hopefully that works out, and that might mitigate some of these bot issues. But you're never going to really eradicate them. So my only hope is that they would take these false positive cases a little bit more seriously, and look at them a little bit more closely.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. Do you think it's like Veve employees doing this, or do you think they outsource it all to like a third party security company?
It seems like everything is completely outsourced. Just the nature of like the generic email responses I get, it's like you kind of get a sense that they're not even looking at it, or if they are, it's the third party is looking at it. And I'm not even sure if the third party has access to all of the information and data in Veve. So I'm not really confident how would they be able to really do a deep dive audit into some of these specific cases. And at this point, it's kind of like their word against my word, or any other victims of restrictions word. But at this point, I haven't been given any proof of what they have found. I haven't been given the chance to defend myself, because I don't even know what was flagged on my account.
There's a lot of people in here. It seems like it's a polarized group of, people who support your story and who you represent, and people who think, they just don't believe you. What would you say? Obviously we'll never know. I don't know. You could be the greatest con man ever. I don't know. But, what would you say to those people who are doubting you?
I mean,
Like, what are you trying to get out of this?
I definitely want to continue to be a part of the community. I definitely have a great passion for Veve, and I am still heavily invested in Veve and Omi, and I do believe in the project. All I'm asking is for Veve to kind of give me a fair chance, and people in my similar situations that are asking for a fair review, a more manual review of our cases. And if they did that, a quick 5-10 minute audit looking into my account would show that my activity doesn't really resemble bot activity. And also, I haven't won drops consistently enough to even prove that I'm a bot, right? Most bots would be winning on a weekly basis, and I definitely don't do that.
Yeah, man. I feel like it's I'm just thinking, if you're an investor, luckily most of my investments are Nomi. It's not in the collectibles, but let's say I wanted to invest a lot of money into the collectibles because I see that they're worth a lot of money. They appreciate very well. And you put in a substantial amount, we're not talking 50, $60. We're talking hundreds. Some people are putting thousands into the app. And then all of a sudden those assets are frozen. I mean, I could see where that's very concerning. And, I mean, it's definitely a problem that has to be fixed before we go forward in terms of mainstream adoption, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, it creates a hard conversation with me and my wife, because I'm always like, hey, I'm going to invest another couple grand into Omi. And I'm quite frankly embarrassed to do that at this point, because she's well aware of my situation in Veve. And she's always been skeptical about crypto in general and NFTs, and now to have my account locked, she knows I'm not a cheater. So she's like, why is your account locked? And it puts me in a hard place to explain the situation to her. And in her mind, she's thinking this is a scam. In my mind, I know it's not. It's just it's a misunderstanding. It's the security system is kind of like overlooking certain things. It's programmed to look for certain things, and there are false positives. And I just wish that Veve would take those situations a little bit more seriously. And I feel like there's been a huge lack of communication. There's really been no transparency into like what really constitutes some of these things that get flagged, right? So like I have people in the group saying they were restricted and disabled, but they're not anymore. But they're still scared to use that account for drops for fear
I
of
wouldn't use it.
being disabled, and they could be disabled permanently. So, these people are scared to use their account. No one should feel that way. It just doesn't feel right.
Tell me a little bit about, just very generally, so just to protect privacy and stuff. But you're in a Telegram group with a bunch of other people who have been negatively affected. What does that group of people look like? I know we talked about it earlier, but maybe you can just share with everybody.
So, these are people that have had their accounts disabled or restricted. Some people are in the Telegram group who were restricted and no longer restricted, and just showing their support and some of their experiences with, customer support at Veve. These people are from all over the world. And, I was, prior to this live stream, I was trying to get information from the folks in there to see if, last night you had an interview with Hello K, and he had mentioned that he thought it was more heavily towards iPhone users. And, maybe more specifically, like some of the newer iPhones, like the iPhone 13s. So I thought maybe that's the case because I have an iPhone. I got restricted. So let me ask the guys in the group. And turns out it was pretty evenly split, 50-50, iPhones and Android. So, I'm really confused as to what really triggered it. And we're just kept in the dark. We don't really have any idea of what flagged it, but we're just asking for a little bit more transparency. And, no one in that group is feeling like they're getting that.
Yeah. I feel like part of it too is, someone in the comments mentioned that it's a third-party security company that's Veve outsources to. So part of it is probably Veve may not even know, right? They may not know what their security company is doing, but also you can't reveal your secrets, right? You can't just say, okay, people are getting pinged because they do this, right? Because then all the malicious botters are going to, change their behavior. So it's definitely a hard situation to be in. But what do you think would be a good solution? You mentioned very generically like transparency, but what do you think? What would you tell them in terms of what they could do to make this easier, or at least less painful for users like yourself?
I think when you think of like any business, right? Any successful business would pride themselves in great customer service, right? Because without your customers, there is no business. So, I think the growth that Veve has seen over the last 12 to 18 months is ridiculous. It's phenomenal. But, I just think they're overlooking the customer service aspect a little bit. They definitely have the great IP. Their technology is getting better as you see. But I feel like, man, just the customer service is really lacking. We're not getting the level of support that we should be getting, and I don't think they're adequately staffed. Based on the names that I received in that group, I think there's four names, customer support people that reply emails, that send the same generic emails. So if you're only getting four different names for, I don't know how many accounts that are restricted, but if it's thousands, how could four people service thousands of complaints?
Yeah, I think that's actually true because I was doing some research in terms of the Veve organization, like the people, and I'm just looking at things like LinkedIn, but I did get the strong sense that it was a very small team, like maybe less than 10, probably a lot less than 10 actually. And that was, months ago. So, probably, I don't know. I'm not trying to give anyone advice, but it would make sense that eventually, sooner or later, whenever it makes sense to do so, you probably need to have a stronger customer service team when you're going mainstream, right? Because every mainstream company has a very strong customer service arm, right? You just have to. It goes hand in hand. It's a cost of doing business, right?
Right. Right. No, totally.
Okay. So, also, how many people are in that Telegram group? Is it,
It's not a large group. I would say it's probably around 50 people.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What would you ask Vivi to do in regards to your personal account? If you had, some team members here, what would you say to them?
My only request is to, just have someone to please manually review my case because, 110%, I'm not a cheater, I'm not a bot or a scripter or anything like that. Just anyone who can manually review the account, they would quickly see that, I'm not a cheater and I didn't do anything illegal. It's just clearly a misunderstanding, falsely, flagged from their security system. And, hey, I get it, mistakes happen, but they have to own up to it. And, I feel like I'm certainly being ignored. The guys that are also restricted, they feel the same way. We just feel like they're ignoring us and we don't have any idea or timetable of if and when we're going to get our accounts back. At this point, I don't even know if I'm going to get my account back.
Yeah, that's the thing that kills me is it's the not knowing, right, that gets you because you don't know if it's going to continue going on for the next couple of days or a year or forever. You just don't know.
Right. Like
And
there's another YouTuber, the patient hodler. He put out a video
yeah,
recently. I think the title is like, "Are your NFT safe?" or something like that. He has a really good video. I encourage everyone in here to watch it. But he puts on an interesting perspective if we really do own our NFTs or not, because he has a family member that has also been restricted and has experienced similar situations as myself. And it's a really good video. I encourage everyone to watch it. The patient hodler.
did I ask you already how much your vault is worth, or are you
Oh
comfortable
yeah,
sharing that?
yeah. No, I'm totally fine with that. As of I think yesterday morning, it was valued at a little under 200K.
Wow.
I mean, I have a horror story to tell you, but it should actually be worth 250K. So during
Yeah,
the
tell us
time,
about that. Tell us about your loss.
so during the time I was restricted, I had my Walt listed for sale. So during that time of Mickey, I think the Walt floor was around 11 or 12K. And during that time, it kind of sat there. It didn't really move. That was kind of like the established floor for a couple weeks. So I had my Walt listed at 16.3K. And I typically move my floors as I typically move my prices as the floors rise. But I got caught in having my Walt out there while I got my account disabled. And I emailed Veve customer support to see if they could take it down during the time I was restricted because I knew it was going to sell within the next few days. Um, I didn't get a reply. I don't know if they looked at my email. Probably didn't. Long story short, it got sold during the massive run up a couple of weeks ago when I think Walt went up from 12K to like 18, 20K really quickly. And it never came back down. So unfortunately, my Walt got sold. And the buyer, Dr. Profit, if you're listening,
Oh, it's Dr. Profit.
if you're feeling charitable, Dr. Profit, I'd love to buy it back. I'll throw in a couple thousand more gems, but it's a really unfortunate thing that happened to me. And, I'm sure you wouldn't miss one Walt out of 200. And, you'd certainly, it would change my life for sure. So my plea to you, Dr. Profit, if you're feeling generous and charitable, please sell it back to me once my account gets back.
That's fair. Let's take some. I guess we got some donations here. Oh, Kobe Collects says Veve spoke on this in their last AMA. They know innocent people are disabled and addressed it by saying it's a third party service that was responsible. Support is the issue right now. They'll fix it. What do you think about that? Oh, also, thank you, Kobe Collects. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's a fair statement. It's just they're not communicating that to users such as myself. So I think we would have a lot less anxiety if we knew or had an idea that they were at least looking at our cases. Because based on the emails that I've shown, I don't think that they are. They haven't indicated that they're looking at it. So, I mean, I could be locked out for the next 3 months off
Gotcha.
of false positive. These are people's monies that are locked up, and we can't participate in future drops. I mean, this is really unfortunate, and it shouldn't have happened.
Definitely, for sure. Oh, Cryptomaniac, Camel Toad. So,
Cryptomaniac, he's an awesome dude.
yeah. Does he not make any videos anymore?
He got
I
really
feel like I
busy.
used to see him on streams and
Yeah,
stuff, and now I don't.
he got really busy with life, so he took a little break from that. But yeah, I do miss his videos.
Yeah. So, do you think maybe someone in the community will ask this question in the AMA? I feel like it's been asked before, though, right? Do you remember them asking about it in 2021, like in one of those AMAs? Like, what
I
about all
don't
these?
I I don't think I recall them asking it in this year, but I do know that it was addressed, I think, in November, but it hasn't really. I mean, from what I see, it's gotten worse since November. So I feel like they definitely need to readdress this issue and at least let us know what they're doing about it and what are their plans in the near term, because we're finding more and more users that are being innocently restricted.
So this is what Gibby says. If you transfer a collectible out right after you receive it from the drop, it seems to be a flag in the security system, in addition to being logged into the same account from two devices at the same time. Did you do anything like that?
No, I didn't do anything like that. I know Hello K last night had mentioned that his friend had bought a new iPhone, and
Yes.
they were upgrading to the 13, and the the username was still logged into the old iPhone and the new phone, so that might have triggered a bot activity because Hello K, he's a software engineer, so he had mentioned that the iPhones are a lot more difficult to work with in terms of programming. Um, so he feels like maybe there's something going on in the back end of the iPhone's programming that could maybe flag some more false positives, but I don't know. I mean, I don't log in on the same username on multiple phones, so it, that wouldn't apply to me, but I'm sure it applies to a couple other people out there.
And smells fun. Oh, actually, I'm wearing one of his shirts, by the way. But
Yeah.
he does some great shirts. That's not a paid plug or anything. It just so happened to see him. But he brings up a good point, and I'm not sure if. Well, I don't know, but he says now with Omi transferring in, having a locked an account is a larger concern for everyone. So definitely, when your account was, it wasn't restricted. It was what did you say it was?
Disabled,
Disabled, right,
and
right, right.
then restricted.
When it was disabled, you definitely can't access your OMI, and that's a concern going forward if we stake our OMI. So obviously, we don't know what's going to happen when you have an account. Actually, do you have OMI on the app? Maybe that's a good question to ask you.
No, all my OMI is still in Bit4x. My
Okay.
plan was to move it into, but I couldn't because I was restricted. So, they don't even want my OMI apparently. So it's on the exchange because I was going to move it over for, the MCP, but I can't. So, and quite frankly, I don't feel confident in doing so at this stage until I get some clarity, into, what really triggers, the bot, software, because it could happen again.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if this is will be true, but I feel like you definitely can't restrict or disable someone's wallet, right? Because there's a wallet functionality there.
Right.
You know, you just can't do that because that's, obviously potentially huge issues with that. I mean, even with the collectibles, but I hope they address this issue kind of going forward. And I definitely feel like if you do disable someone, you definitely can't disable their Omi wallet.
Right.
Uh, and I'm pretty sure they won't do that, but who knows? Um, but yeah, is there anything else you wanted to tell us, about your story or about just any of the comments or anything
Yes,
like that?
some of the guys who are on Android phones, they had mentioned a good point where in the Google Play app there is a 3-day customer service, I guess, response time frame that Veve has to abide by selling stuff through the Google Play Store. I didn't see that in the Apple store, but it is, part of the terms and conditions in the Google Play Store. And, we just want to have that addressed from Veve as well, because it does not seem like they are abiding by the 3-day window of responding to customer inquiries.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be a fudder or put Vivi and Omi in a bad position because I'm heavily invested in it as well, right? So, the point of this video interview is just to kind of get our voices heard, and we are concerned, and we are investors. We're all loyal users of Vivi. We just want our accounts back. We want to be able to have that same experience that we've had and loved and enjoyed, for the past 8 months, and rather than keep talking about being restricted. We want to just be enjoying it like everyone else, and have this be done with. But we feel like it's getting worse, and our voices aren't being heard, and we're just really at a loss for what to do next, and feeling kind of hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's just take a few moments and ask the audience, is there any questions you would like to ask Superman, or any statements? Definitely leave them in the comments down below. But let's give them kind of some time to formulate that thought here. Let me see if I have one last question here. What are your thoughts? Do you think like your morale, I guess, do you feel like this issue will get resolved? Do you think Vivi will be uh, help you take care of this issue long term going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident that the issue will get resolved. My concern is, when, you know, when account unrestricted. I don't know, but I'm innocent. I know 110% I'm innocent. Um, I just want them to look into the account and show me, I guess, like, what was the result of the query in the bot software from the third party security team. Like, I want to see it, and it would make a lot more sense to provide that information than to just falsely lock someone away and accuse them of botting, scripting, or emulating, or other illegal activities. So which one is it? Was I botting? Was I using scripts? Was I using an emulator? Like what? And that's the issue that everyone in my position is having, is we don't know what we're being accused of, because allow us to defend ourselves, allow us to show you the proof and the evidence that we're doing the drops fairly and we're not cheating, but we're not getting that level of transparency, and that's the big issue, and that's my major concern with moving Omi onto Vivi. My goal was to participate into the Master Collectives program as well, but I'm not going to be able to stake anything for the near term. I don't know, it's just an unfortunate position that a lot of users like myself are in right now. We don't want to continue to be complaining about this or being seen as fudders or botters, because maybe there are botters that are claiming that they're innocent too, but when it comes time to do the manual audit, I'm sure that they would be found guilty, right? And during those manual reviews, I'm sure the innocent people will be proven innocent. We're just not given that level of support, and I'm not sure Veve has the staff to do so.
Yeah, well, one thing that someone brought up in the comments earlier, that I thought about a little bit was, part of, we know that Veve NFTs are real NFTs, right? There's, despite all the FUD out there about that, they are. But and the benefit of an NFT is like you should own it, and we're going through this migration, so eventually when that happens, maybe there'll be more, significantly less centralized. But I feel like even if you are a botter that did something wrong, as long as it's not like illegal, you should be able to at least keep them, and maybe, I don't know, like sell them. I feel like you should, at the bare minimum, be able to sell your collectibles and get your money out. Maybe you are a botter and you did something, but you still bought the collectibles. You spend money there. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I feel like you should, at the bare minimum. Like, what if they said to you, whatever, you did something wrong, we can't give you your account back. Don't you think that would be at least something nice to be able to get your money out? Because you did invest X amount of dollars or gems, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do have that in their terms of conditions, where they do say, like, if we determine that you're going to be banned from Veve, we're going to allow you to sell your collectibles, and basically kind of like you are banned from Veve. That's definitely the resolution that I would not hope for, because I want to continue being a part of Veve and continue enjoying the experience. So if they find or have any evidence of saying that I was botting and saying you have X days to liquidate your stuff, pack it up and get out, that would be like heartbreaking for me. I don't know what I would do, but I'd have to sell and move on. But it would just really be gut wrenching, because I didn't do anything illegal. So
Yeah.
I'm dying to see what they have, or what the software had flagged, because everyone's just in the dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, if the time comes and if I have to do that, I mean, I will defend myself till the day I die. But I don't want to leave Veve, because I do love Veve, and I'm very bullish on the project and Omi. So I mean, I just wish that if they do a manual review, if they did one, I'm really confident, 110% sure that they would find me innocent. And I'm sure a bunch of others in the same shoes as myself, they'd find them innocent. So it just comes down to, like, do they have the manpower to do this? Can they allocate more resources to customer support? They're making millions of dollars every day. Millions of dollars are flowing into Veve every day. Where's the money going? I'd like for more pressing questions to be asked on the AMAs. It just seems like a lot of the AMA questions are more on the casual side, and when Pokemon, when Star Wars, like, can we ask like some real questions that the users are really looking for? Because we're not getting the answers on social media.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like if you get selected to ask a question on the AMA, it's hard to be that type of person that just like like goes at him with like boxing gloves, right? It's because you, all of us, even if you don't like something they did or didn't do, we all respect the product that they put out. I mean, the reason all of us are even here talking about this issue is because they provided something that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's why we all got involved in it. So, but I do think you're right. I do think, I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard about like the same old questions, like the when MTL, or all these like wastes of airspace.
Right.
It would be interesting to hear some of the real questions, because you're right. We, at this point, 2021 was a good year for them, right? Because they said something like, we're at year 5 of our timeline, so they're like 5 years ahead of what they expected 2021 to be. They're selling these products that sell out like everything sells out within seconds, right? And
Yeah.
we know millions of gems are coming into the app.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of it goes to licensors and expenses, yada yada yada. But 20 30% profit is a reasonable expectation for like a product like this, or, so where is that money going? And, I'm not in the business world. I don't know. And I don't know what they're dealing with, but you would think that they could spend a little bit more money to get maybe at least double their 5 people.
Right. Yeah.
In their customer service. But anyways, it's tough, man. I'm sorry that you're going through it. I really do believe you. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this interview if I thought you're a botter.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. But we can. There's a lot of toxicity in the comments, but do you have any last minute thoughts or concerns before we kind of close out the stream?
I mean, yeah, just, everyone in my shoes, we're just asking for, essentially a fair trial. Can we have some, transparency into what exactly flagged us in claiming that, we've done something illegal? At the very least, can they provide proof so we can actually have closure? Because at this point, no one knows, are we is restricted forever? Or are they looking at our account? Like, what's going on? Because we're not getting the answers from customer support. So can we have more transparency?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to eventually, sooner or later, have more customer support. Right, I think that's the kind of the theme we've kind of found. Manual review of an account, and maybe, I mean, if you look at other companies, they always have like an appeals process too. I think having an appeal, having a second set of eyes look through it. I mean, I know this is a lot of potential people and a lot of time you're spending, but going sooner or later, we need to have it. I mean, we can't be a mainstream company if we don't have some of those basic things we just talked about. So that has to happen sooner or later. I mean, it has to happen soon.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Supraman, how can people reach out to you? Are you on Twitter? Are you on like Discord or?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty active on Twitter. Probably not for the best reasons, but I've been just trying to get my story out. But you can find me on Twitter at Supraman45.
Okay.
I'm also pretty active in the Veve Vaults Discord as well from time to time. I don't do anything in Veve anymore because I don't have a full account. So, but I'm pretty active in Twitter, and hopefully when I get my account back, you'll be hearing a lot more different things from me rather than ranting about, my account.
Yeah, man. I would say we just have to keep fighting, right? Keep getting your story out there, because eventually people see. I mean, I've even seen it more on Twitter. So whatever you're doing is definitely working. And I believe in this company. I think it'll eventually get fixed.
Yeah. And, I think what, YouTubers such as yourself, the influencers, I think you guys are doing a great job. Cavell did a really good video about restricted accounts a couple of weeks ago. So, I appreciate that. Cavell, I think he was the first one that really brought it to light and kind of like questioned Veve and, was taking a hard stance at it. I just hope that more, influencers do the same, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, right? We're all, our end goals are all the same, and we just want to, continue to be part of the community and not have this, scarlet letter on our chest, like we're all guilty, we're all botters, because we're not, we just want to have our accounts back and continue on, just like everyone else out there.
Okay. Well, Supraman, thanks for having us. Guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I think it's something that we need to start talking about a little bit more. Hopefully we'll have a question in the next coming AMA or so, but I appreciate you guys for listening. And I'll put some information in the description below that you can check out later of where you can reach out to Supraman if you want to get in touch with them. But thank you guys. Supraman, thank you for being on with me.
Thanks, Dan.
All right.